Great to see you all here, and can we say a big thank you to Seven Dials Club for letting us be here tonight. Becoming the go-to venue. We're in a very interesting time in politics, and we're here tonight to support Diane's campaign to be Mayor of London. And think of the possibilities of a really good Mayor of London that will build council housing, that will control the private rented sector, that will encourage youth unemployment, that will put money into culture, arts, and will not allow London to be run for the benefit of funny money and property speculators. We know the kind of London we want to live in. London is a marvellous, amazing and very diverse city. I want it to stay that way. And the constituencies that Diane and I represent border each other and face broadly the similar issues. Both of us have councils that have managed to maintain a very high level of council housing. In addition, we have housing association properties. But we also have around 30% of our communities living in the private rented sector. And so when the Tories and others lecture us about housing benefit bills, they lecture us as though somebody from the DWP takes a taxi round to a claimant's house and hands them a large dollop of cash once a week. It's nonsense. The reality is, we the public are paying a vast amount of money in housing benefit, all of which goes straight to landlords who are charging far too much, often for substandard and inferior property. And because the rents have gone up so high, more and more people are being forced out of central London. There is in reality a social cleansing going on of central London because of the rip-roaring private sector market and the rip-roaring housing market in London. We need a mayor that understands what is happening to working class communities in inner London, that understands what's happening to working class communities all over London, and is prepared to intervene and do something about it, rather than providing yet more opportunities for mass speculation and mass removal of the poorer people from our city. That's why we need Diane there, that's why we need a Labour mayor in London. Now there's many other issues we can talk about. I just want to say this on environment, housing and all the other issues that go with that. I've been around in London politics for a very long time. I won't tell you how long because it'll be depressing for you and memorable for me. That in the 1970s, early 1970s, I was involved in a campaign to stop the widening of the Archway Road. Why? Because the widening of the Archway Road would have made it available for more traffic. Once you make a road big enough for more traffic, it attracts more traffic, and you therefore need to widen the road a bit further down, and so you go on with dual carriageways, grade separated motorways all over a city, and you suddenly find you've destroyed the city that you thought you were providing traffic routes for. There had to be a change. Those brave people, with the support of Ken Livingstone and many others, who fought back against that bankrupt thinking about road building as a way of solving London's traffic problems, and instead tried to rebalance in favour of public transport, eventually, with great difficulty, won that argument. We won it through Fair's Fair when Ken Livingstone was leader of the GLC. We won it again when we managed to protect to some extent the unity of London's transport despite the Tory 1984 Transport for London Act. And then when Ken Livingstone became mayor, we got congestion charging, we got a huge rebalancing of public open spaces in favour of people rather than cars, and a balance in favour of pedestrians and cyclists rather than yet more commuter motorists. It might all sound awfully arcane, detailed, technical stuff, but it's absolutely central to the kind of city we want to live in. A city where you can walk, a city where you can breathe, a city where you can live, a city where you can enjoy yourselves, a city where you can work, a city that is proud of its cultural diversity. Or are we going to hand it all over to the market and we end up with underpaid, low-paid workers commuting vast distances because they simply cannot afford to live anywhere within the North Circular, let alone within the M25. I know the kind of London I want, you know the kind of London you want. Let's go for it and campaign for it, and above all, get it, because we can, I believe, achieve that. Diane's been a great friend of mine ever since we first met in the 1970s, and she is somebody that gets the issues of diversity in London, gets the issues of housing supply, jobs and creative industries in London. So that is why I'm really pleased to be able to be here tonight to support her. But it's also about the politics of what's going on at the present time. I'm involved in an absolutely fascinating process. I get to debate with 3 colleagues more or less every day, sometimes twice or 3 times a day, on different issues. And we've so far done 16 of these debates, and there's only about another 10 to go. Maybe 15, I don't know, I've lost count. But it's absolutely fascinating. The numbers of people that are coming out to these debates. We had 1,500 people on a Saturday morning in Birmingham discussing politics, many of whom were new members of the Labour Party, new to the Labour Party. We've recruited nearly 50,000 members since the general election. That's great. And those people have not joined the Labour Party because they want to be part of a social network and social club. They've joined because they're very angry at the result we got in the general election in May, and because they want to see a different society in Britain. And so I think we have to reflect on why we lost the general election in May. Everybody in this room was devastated by that defeat. But in a sense, it's kind of understandable. Whilst we were having good stuff in the manifesto, while Ed Miliband did do well on the issue of 0 hours contract and rights at work, living wage, minimum wage issues, he did very well on those issues. But the problem was that if people looked at the economic strategy being offered, essentially it was a degree of austerity light. Even during the campaign, various frontbench spokespersons were offering up the level of cuts that were going to be made in particular departments. We all knew that even if we'd won the election in May, on that strategy there was still going to be cuts in local government expenditure, job losses, wage freeze in the public sector, particularly for civil servants, and other issues like that. Why? Because somewhere along the line we very mistakenly accepted an austerity agenda, as though the poorest people paying extortionate rents, working in our hospitals and schools, had caused the bank crisis of 2008. We brought the banks into public ownership, sort of, and unfortunately George Osborne is now selling them off real time. And I think we've got to offer something different. Yes. The effects of austerity have been greater inequality, greater poverty. Ultra austerity is what the people of Greece are now facing. Yeah. Thank you, European Central Bank and the European Union, for what it's doing to the people of Greece. The poorest people of Greece have been driven into a humanitarian crisis by all that. So we can and should do things differently. Therefore, this debate is about an alternative economic strategy that does not accept austerity, does not accept an arbitrary date to move into budget surplus, instead says run an economy for the benefit of the people, run an economy to eliminate poverty and homelessness, run an economy for the good of all of us, not for the good of the few. And the last point I make before I stop, and you'll be grateful about that, I can see Diane hovering. I mean, Diane, it's quite off-putting when you walk here and you look at everybody's watch on the way in. Exactly how long have I been speaking for? It's only half an hour, okay. I'll finish with that. The other point is, as a Labour Party, at times we get on the wrong track and we get into the wrong vein altogether. I do not blame people on benefits for the size of the benefit bill. I blame a system that causes poverty for those people. So why do we get involved in supporting the reduction in the benefit cap? Why do some people in our party get involved in saying it's okay to remove child tax credit for the third, fourth or whatever number of children there are in a family? Sorry, every child matters. Every child. And I think those are the principles we have to adopt. Likewise, when people get up at various places and tell me immigration is a problem, immigration has caused a problem in their school, a problem in their hospital, a problem in their GP surgery, I say two things. One is, those that have migrated to this country have worked very hard, paid taxes, made a huge contribution to our society. What kind of NHS would we have if there hadn't been a generation of immigrants coming to this country from all parts of the world to contribute to our NHS? And voting UKIP, or anybody else that seeks to blame those people for our problems, won't bring a new school, won't bring a new hospital, won't bring a new doctor. All it will do is satisfy some frankly insatiable demand for the blame culture.